In the realm of historical horrors, one name reigns supreme: Martin Bormann, a specter of evil, consumed by malevolent dreams. In this video, we will talk about the most chilling execution, a story that will make your blood freeze. Born in Welgoben in the Kingdom of Prussia and the German Empire, Bormann was the son of Theodor Bormann, a post office employee, and his second wife, Antony Bernardine Menning. He had two half-siblings from his father's previous marriage. Martin and Albert were the surviving sons of Antony Bormann, as one of their siblings died in infancy. Bormann's father died when he was 3, and his mother remarried shortly thereafter. But before we go any further, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Bormann's studies were interrupted when he joined the 55th Field Artillery Regiment during World War I. He later became an estate manager and joined an anti-Semitic landowners association. In 1922, he joined the Freikorps organization as a section leader and treasurer. On the 17th of March 1924, Bormann was sentenced to a year in Elisabethstrasse prison for his involvement in the murder of Walter Cadeau, alongside his friend Rudolf Haas. The motive for the murder was the belief that Cadeau had informed French occupation authorities about sabotage activities conducted by Freikorps members Albert Leo Schlagitter. Schlagitter was arrested and executed on 26 May 1923. Bormann, Haas, and others took Cadeau to a meadow outside the town on the night of 31st May, where he was beaten and killed. The body was discovered after a confession, leading to charges in July. Bormann was released from prison in February 1925 and subsequently joined the Front-Bahn, a short-lived replacement for the band Sturmabteilung. He returned to his job in Mecklenburg but moved in with his mother in Oberweimar in May 1926. Bormann worked for Der National Socialist, a paper edited by Nazi member Haas Severus Ziegler. After joining the Nazi Party in 1927, he became a regional press officer, but later became the business manager for the region. In 1930, he established the Hilfskasse der NSDAP, a relief fund for party members injured during party activities. Bormann controlled fund payments, gaining a reputation as a financial expert. Party members felt indebted after benefiting from the fund. It also served as a last resort funding source for the cash-strapped Nazi Party. After winning 107 seats in the 1930 general election, party membership surged. By 1932, the fund collected 3 million marks annually. From 1928 to 1930, Bormann worked for the SA and established the precursor to the National Socialist Motor Corps, coordinating vehicle donations and providing automotive training to members. After the Nazi Party's seizure of power in January 1933, the relief fund's purpose changed to providing general insurance. Consequently, Bormann stepped down from its administration. He then became the chief of staff in the office of Rudolf Hess, the Deputy Führer, on July 1, 1933. From July 1933 until May 12, 1941, Bormann served as Hess's personal secretary. Bormann utilized his position to establish a comprehensive bureaucracy and involve himself in decision-making processes. Hitler appointed him as Reichsleiter, national leader of the Nazi Party, on October 10, 1933, and as a Reichstag deputy in November. By June 1934, Bormann gained entry into Hitler's inner circle, accompanying him everywhere and providing briefings and summaries of events and requests. In 1935, Bormann became responsible for overseeing renovations at Hitler's property, the Berghof. Hitler had purchased the property in the early 1930s and enlisted Bormann to oversee its expansion and remodeling. Bormann commissioned the construction of various facilities, including barracks, roads, garages, and a guest house. He also acquired adjacent farms, expanding the complex to cover 10 square kilometers. Bormann personally built his own house, along with the houses for Göring and Speer. Additionally, he had the Kelstein House or Eagle's Nest built as a gift to Hitler. During Hitler's residence at the Berghof, Bormann served as his personal secretary, controlling access and information. Bormann also managed Hitler's personal finances, including funds from royalties and industrialist donations, primarily using them for Hitler's benefit. Bormann and others recorded Hitler's dinner conversations and late-night monologues, which were later published as Hitler's Table Talk. Bormann had authority over civil service appointments through his role in the Deputy Führer's office, overlapping with Minister of the Interior Wilhelm Frick. He accompanied Hitler on trips and organized major party events like the 1938 Nuremberg Rally. Hitler deliberately created rivalries and distrust among his subordinates, relying on Bormann as his intermediary. Losing favor with Bormann meant losing access to Hitler. Bormann skillfully manipulated power struggles and limited the influence of other high-ranking officials, leading to a culture of infighting within the Third Reich. As the war progressed, Bormann eclipsed Hess and took over many of his responsibilities. Hess flew to Britain in May 1941 for peace negotiations, but was arrested and imprisoned for the rest of the war. Hitler considered his departure a personal betrayal and abolished the post of Deputy Führer. Bormann assumed Hess's former duties as head of the party chancellery, responsible for all Nazi Party appointments. He also joined the Council of Ministers for Defense of the Reich and expanded his power during the war. A committee formed to centralize control of the war economy faced resistance from cabinet ministers, leading to its decline into irrelevance. Although the Reich's Concordat Treaty was signed in 1933, Hitler and Bormann believed that Christianity was incompatible with Nazism. Hitler intended to postpone the elimination of Christian churches until after the war, but made hostile statements against them, indicating tolerance for the ongoing church struggle. Bormann actively persecuted the Christian churches, excluding clergy from the Nazi Party and dismissing those in party offices. He also reduced religious instruction in schools and mandated the removal of crucifixes from classrooms. Bormann even prohibited churches from being allocated building sites in plans for Berlin's reconstruction. Bormann and the Nazis targeted the Catholic Church, confiscating monasteries and expelling occupants. In 1941, Bishop von Galen publicly protested against the persecution and the euthanasia program. His sermon sparked a widespread protest movement. Bormann wanted him executed, but Hitler saw the potential for martyrdom and postponed action until after the war. Bormann held non-Christian theistic beliefs and sought to diminish the influence of the Christian churches. Historians have described Bormann as an atheist. Hitler increasingly relied on Bormann to handle domestic policies as he focused on military matters. Bormann's appointment as personal secretary to the Führer granted him de facto control over all domestic affairs. He advocated harsh measures towards Jews, conquered Eastern peoples, and prisoners of war. Bormann signed decrees extending Nuremberg laws to annexed territories, endorsing the final solution, and granting Eichmann absolute power over Jews. Historian Richard J. Evans estimates that the Nazi regime exterminated 5.5 to 6 million Jews, two-thirds of the Jewish population of Europe, during the Holocaust. Bormann advocated for separate penal codes and brutal treatment of Polish, Jewish, and Slavic inhabitants in the conquered Eastern territories. He supported Erich Koch's harsh approach and issued a directive to prioritize German interests over the well-being of the Slavic population. Bormann and Himmler shared responsibility for the Volkssturm, a poorly equipped militia that suffered heavy casualties without affecting the Soviet advance. Hitler and Bormann remained in the Führer bunker in Berlin until the end of April 1945 during the Battle of Berlin. On April 20th, Hitler awarded Iron Crosses in the ruined gardens of the Reich Chancellery. Bormann left the bunker on April 23 as ordered by Hitler. On April 29th, Bormann witnessed and signed Hitler's last will, in which Hitler named him executor. On April 30th, Hitler and Eva Braun committed suicide. Bormann was named party minister and held the top position in the party. The battle in Berlin ended on May 2nd with the surrender of the city to Soviet forces. On May 1st, Bormann left the Führer bunker with a group attempting to break out of the Soviet encirclement. They traveled through a subway tunnel and crossed the Spree River. Eventually, Bormann and Stumpfegger were separated from the group and seen on a bridge near a railway switching yard. Axman later identified their bodies, but the exact cause of their death remained uncertain for a long time, as the Soviets did not confirm finding Bormann's body. Amidst conflicting reports of Bormann's whereabouts, sightings were reported in various countries. His wife was placed under surveillance, and public notices were issued during the Nuremberg trials to notify him. Despite lacking evidence of his death, Bormann was tried in absentia and charged with conspiracy to wage war, war crimes, and crimes against humanity. The prosecution argued his extensive involvement in anti-Semitic legislation, while the defense unsuccessfully contended he was already deceased. Bormann was convicted and sentenced to death by hanging, with provisions for potential sentence adjustments if he were found alive. Despite numerous efforts by organizations such as the CIA and West German government, attempts to locate Bormann were unsuccessful. Sightings were reported globally, and theories emerged suggesting he was a Soviet spy or residing in South America. In 1963, a retired postal worker claimed that he and his colleagues had buried two bodies near a railway bridge in Berlin, one of which was identified as Ludwig Stumpfegger, an SS doctor. The West German government concluded its search for Bormann in 1971. Excavations in 1965 failed to locate the bodies, but in 1972, human remains were discovered near Letter Station in Berlin. Autopsies revealed cyanide poisoning, indicating suicide. Dental records and forensic analysis confirmed that one skeleton was Bormann's while the other belonged to Stumpfegger. Facial reconstruction further confirmed their identities. In 1998, genetic testing on skull fragments definitively identified the remains as Bormann's. His ashes were scattered over the Baltic Sea in 1999. With that said, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more. See you in the next video. Till then, take care.